Am I muted now?
Nope, you're unmuted.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our workshop, Being a Young Adult. So I'm Julia.
And I'm Haley.
This is Haley.
Am I muted now? No, you're unmuted.
And we're gonna talk about young adulthood. So thanks everyone for coming. We really appreciate it. This is our first formal workshop with DAO. We'll get into a little bit more about that in a second, but just so everybody in the Google Meet knows, this is being live streamed to Durham Alliance Outreach's socials. So we have Facebook, I think we have YouTube as well. So that is that. We just ask that everybody remains muted until we have that go ahead to have some discussions, because we do have some topics that we want to discuss with whoever's in the Google Meet right now. Obviously respecting each other's opinions. We want to keep things as confidential as possible. So when we do have those moments of being able to share and discuss, we're going to pause the live stream and pause the recording, just so we give that extra assurance that this is going to be private. Please be kind and considerate of others, and this is an opportunity to learn, so don't be afraid to ask questions at the end. We'll try
Give time for that.
We'll try to answer those questions as best as we can, and obviously just treat people like you want to be treated.
So going into what we just want to talk about today, we're going to do introductions about Julia and I, and then we're going to do a few icebreakers with those of you that are on the meet, and that's when we'll pause the recording for everybody. And then we're going to get into character building, interpersonal skills, and then we're going to talk about goals, which is setting and pursuing.
So just really quickly, we wanted to talk about Durham Alliance Outreach and the mission statement. So this is a direct quote from our website. It says, "To advance education by providing workshops and lectures on life skills such as self-esteem, confidence, and communication to the general public, and especially to the LGBTQ community of Durham. Also strive to provide a counselor-led peer support group for youth and adults in the Durham region who identify as LGBTQ, to provide techniques in coping, self-advocacy, and awareness issues unique to this community." So just that.
And introductions, a bit about us. So we are both currently in our second semester of our second year of the social service worker program at Durham College, and we're graduating in April. We've been placement students with DAO since September, and we are looking forward to discussing the topic of young adulthood.
Okay, so our first icebreaker, we're just going to do a quick introduce yourself and something about All right, we're going to be talking about character building. So, this is something that I've learned a lot throughout my life, especially in elementary school and things like that. This screen cap here is from the Durham District School Board. So, the DDSB actually um, takes character traits and character education as a really important step in growing your personal, um, your character, I guess, and your professionalism and your life as a student, and basically just your role in a society. So, to go into it quickly, they talk about teamwork, responsibility, respect, perseverance, optimism, kindness, integrity, honesty, empathy, and courage, which I agree with fully. I remember being in elementary school and having my agenda, and these traits would just be smacked on the back of every single agenda, so we never forgot. Okay, so here we go. We're going to be going over optimism, responsibility, perseverance, honesty, self advocacy, and independence. So, just a quick preface, character building looks different for everyone. I'd say it's about embracing the process and being open to learning that will set you apart from others. Um, so, we're just going to hop right into it. Here we go. So optimism. A couple examples of optimism are to look on the bright side and focus on positives. And another one is considering things a learning experience. So maybe when something like not so good happens, like you forget that you have a test to study for and you leave it to the last second and you don't do too well on the test, maybe that can be something that you learn for next time. Like maybe you have to set a little bit of time to study for this test, and it might be a little bit sad, but at the end of the day, you can take it as a learning experience, and that will change your outlook ultimately. Um, Another thing that optimistic people do a lot is expect things to work out for the best. So just have your best interests in mind. Another one is accepting responsibility for mistakes that have been made, because beating yourself up for it isn't really helping you or anyone. Um, So don't let one bad experience define your future kind of thing. Because if you get really down about something that happened and you just don't want to get out of that slump, it's going to be really hard to make that switch to be optimistic and stuff. Um, and being grateful is a big part of optimism as well. So secondly, we have responsibility. This one's pretty, I think, self-explanatory, like taking care of your personal safety and well-being and taking accountability for your actions. So kind of like optimism, you're accepting responsibility for your mistakes. I think you'll notice that all of these traits have a lot in common with each other, and they're easy to kind of catch on to when you know um, kind of what you're looking after.
Okay, and next we're going to talk about perseverance. So that's mostly just maintaining optimism and not trying to, like Julia said in the past, just not trying to be too negative on yourself and live life in the present. So don't dwell on the past and don't focus too much on, obviously, think about the future, but don't focus on something 10 years from now and stress yourself out in the second. Trying new experiences and living your goals. Secondly, we want to talk about honesty, which is know yourself and your intentions. So know that what you're doing is really what you want to be spending your time doing in that moment. And make your actions match your words. So be true to yourself, be sincere about your reactions, and be open to feedback.
Yeah, okay. So self-advocacy, I really wanted to include because I think it's important. Um, when you're aiming to improve your character and kind of just, to me, these are the steps into becoming your own person, which is why they teach it so young, which I think is really great. So self-advocacy, I just have written here. So it's defined as understanding your rights and taking control of your life. So advocacy means um, giving yourself or another person support to have their voice heard. So that's why we have written out believing in yourself, speaking up for yourself or for others. If you see maybe someone's getting bullied or someone just needs some help and maybe isn't too keen on asking, just having that kind of awareness and being able to advocate for someone else. In terms of self-advocacy, it's important to ask for things because people aren't mind readers. And if you explicitly ask for something that you need in order to help you finish that project at school, or build up your resume to get a job, if you don't ask, then no one knows to help you, kind of thing. So that's also important to owe that to yourself and be able to advocate for that. Another one is practicing what you preach, for sure, so that you're holding yourself accountable for things. Independence is huge as well. A big tip that people go by when they're talking about independence is faking it till you make it, which for sure works. It for sure works because you're putting that thought into your brain that you can do things by yourself and you're trying the best you can, and ultimately it'll work for you if you just fake it till you make it. Challenging some beliefs that you may have will help you build your independence, and help you meet your needs. And also learning to soothe yourself will be really helpful in independence, just because that kind of, if you know yourself and you know how to relax yourself if you have a stressful situation, then that can be really helpful in terms of becoming independent.
Okay, next we're going to talk about interpersonal skills. So building interpersonal skills as a young adult, the topics that we're going to go more into are awareness, collaboration and teamwork, clear communication, encouraging others, listening, and patience. Okay.
All right, so I quickly want to talk. To improve your interpersonal skills, it's important to monitor your body language, and make sure you're not doing things that people will assume that you're being disengaged or aggressive, so like crossing your arms, looking around, avoiding eye contact. All those kinds of things are easy to pick up on. We're going to talk about practice active listening with your family and your friends and your coworkers, classmates, anybody that you interact with. A good tip that we learn in school is repeating back to someone what you have just heard so that they know that you're listening attentively. Being fratty and chenly, oh my god. I'm so sorry. Friendly and chatty will help improve your interpersonal skills. Practice leading a meeting or presentation like what we're doing right now. This is building our interpersonal skills. Being enthusiastic and engaged when interacting with people. So those were like the main couple of points. And now Haley's going to talk about self-advocacy, or sorry, self-awareness.
That back, yeah. Okay, so the definition of self-awareness is just the experience of one's own personality or individuality. So paying attention to what bothers you. I think this one's important because I feel a lot of people don't really know what other people, what bothers their friends, because you don't communicate properly. So just being able to communicate what bothers you so that people around you know, and knowing and accepting your preferences. And collaboration, the definition is the action of working with someone to pronounce or create something. And that is just being transparent, saying what you're going to do and follow through, allow for a little give and take, and listen to understand, not respond.
Yeah. So that goes back to kind of repeating what you hear someone say. So like listening to actually understand what they're saying and not necessarily waiting for them to be done so that you can go ahead and talk, kind of thing. That makes for kind of a hostile work environment. So next up, communication. So the definition is the imparting or exchanging of information, obviously. A good way to communicate is to ask good questions, because let's say you just assume something was meant by something that someone said, and it could be the opposite, and you'll never know if you don't ask a question, and that could cause for some miscommunication. Like I said at the beginning, paying attention to body language and nonverbal cues, and articulating things that you want to get across. It's really important to make sure that you're saying what you mean and not kind of leaving things to the imagination, because that can get really confusing for people you're working with or communicating with.
Mhm. And then encouragement, the definition for that is just the action of giving someone support, confidence, or hope. So that can be about smiling, listening to what they're saying, sharing positive thoughts, give evidence of success, and reward people's attempts. Right, next we are going to talk about listening. And the definition of listening is giving one's attention and make an effort to hear something. So making sure people know that you're actually listening and not just hearing them. So listen to learn, not to be polite, ask questions, repeat back what you heard, like we spoke about earlier. Wait until someone is finished speaking before you speak. And patience. The definition is the capacity to accept or tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset. And that can be you identifying when you're patient or impatient, or reframe how you think about a situation and your perspective on situations you go through.
Yeah. Before we move on to our next topic, does anybody have any questions? We can type them in the chat of the Google Meet or the Facebook or anywhere. We can try and answer those for you, or you can, tell
Before
us
we
a
go ahead.
story about times that you've witnessed these traits or not witnessed these traits. It can be really frustrating working with a group of people or with an individual and noticing that there are some things that kind of what's the word, that kind of clash. For example, like the best example I can think of is when you're talking to someone and trying to get something done, and they are listening but they're on their phone, or like saying like yep, uh-huh, and they're not actually looking at you, or if you ask them to repeat back what you said, they would have absolutely no idea what you just said. So it's important that these skills are practiced often, and kind of being able to figure out if one of these is happening to you. Like if you're maybe not being super patient with someone, or you're not fully listening to what they're saying, or you're, like I said before, waiting until they're done speaking so that you can go ahead and talk, kind of thing. Um, yeah, so all of these basically just come with practice and um, how badly you want to be able to achieve these skills and learn them and practice them.
Okay. So next we're going to talk about goal setting. And the first slide we have here is something I know the four of us placement students have specifically learned in school, but I thought it was really useful and we thought we should definitely put it in for everybody. So it's just SMART goals, which stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. So looking just more into them, specific is make your own goals specific and narrow for effective planning. So not making your goal too broad and unreachable. Measurable is define what evidence you will prove you're making progress and reevaluate when necessary. So when you recheck with your goal and it's not working, you can always change it and correct it as you go. Attainable is make sure you can reasonably accomplish your goal within a certain time frame. So make it, if you want to start going to the gym, set it for the next month to really get your time going and starting. So instead of just saying, I'm going to start going to the gym next week. And relevant, your goals should align with your values and long-term objectives. And time-based, set a realistic, ambitious, and date. Oh, how do I get? Oh, and date for prioritization and motivation.
Yeah, so some examples of SMART goals. Let's see here. So a couple examples, volunteering regularly is an easy goal that you can achieve. If you find somewhere that you enjoy, you can maybe set the goal to go like twice a month, or however it fits your schedule, kind of thing. If you're really just starting out, you can say like start networking, find that connection that you can use in the future. And yeah, that's a good SMART goal. Improving your listening skills is a good SMART goal. It's specific. And you can kind of, if you, something we're going to talk about in a second is like keeping yourself in check with your goals so that you know if you're meeting them. And that's what we're going to talk about right now. Okay. All right, so learning to set your goals as a young adult. This can be very intimidating because seriously, where do you start? A quick quote we have here is goals are our aspirations. When we set a goal, we create an aim for a set of behaviors. So creating and setting goals is important, but learning to stay on track and hold yourself accountable is how you can really achieve what you are reaching for. So people who are in the chat here and in our meeting, what are some ways you can track your goals to make them more achievable? You can unmute yourself or you can type it in the chat. Journal, yeah, that's a good one, Sam. Writing things down. Yeah, Annie has her hand raised.
I was gonna say I set alarms.
You set
like
alarms?
in my
Okay.
in my calendar.
That's a good one. I'm a to-do list person too, so I like checking things off as I go, so I feel accomplished.
Yeah.
With it all.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe something that I used to do in high school actually with one of my friends is we would set kind of like fitness goals together to like go on a run before school, and it's a lot easier to do with a friend. Like another example, since online learning has become so like just every day for us, I know Haley and I struggled with working alone in our houses, so we started like messaging each other, see if we want to like do a virtual kind of homework study day, and that really helped, I think, us achieve a lot of our goals and do really a lot better than we would if we were doing it alone.
For sure, that was super helpful.
Yeah. All right, what else do we got? So yeah, so make sure your goals are kind of not too big to start out with, and make sure they're achievable and measurable over time. So measurable over time, make sure, like Sam mentioned, she does journaling, kind of having like a set starting point and wherever you want to be at the end, make sure there's a way for you to be able to tell if you're making progress or not.
And look back at the journals.
Yeah, that'll motivate you even more if you look back at journals and notice that there are changes being made.
Okay, so next we're going to be getting into, goal setting. I think it's going to talk about some of the things we just went over, but having a diary or journal where you can track your goals and daily achievements can be very useful for goal setting. So like Sam said, and make it measurable and have a specific goal is important. And for goal pursuing, celebrate all accomplishments, even if they're little ones. So I know for me, I have trouble doing daily exercise. With COVID especially, I just find myself very lazy and not motivated to do much except for like online school. So just getting up and motivated to go on a walk or do a little exercise and celebrate that instead of just feeling like, oh, I haven't been working out for a month straight. It's still like I did it that day. And get it down on paper, so record it, delegate less important tasks, and willpower.
Okay, so we're gonna try an activity. Anyone can do this if you want to do it in our meeting or on the live stream. So this activity we found called Average Perfect Day. So if you want to pull out a journal, a notebook, something on your computer or your phone, you can write down what your average perfect day looks like. So nothing really like I win the lottery kind of thing, but maybe just more like I get out of bed at a good time, I eat a good breakfast, I get to hang out with my kids, that kind of stuff. So focus on what your perfect day looks like. The idea here is to create a detailed list of what your average day looks like step by step, so that eventually you can kind of aim for this. So we'll say creating a day where you never you'll never get bored of, that you can happily repeat 5 or 7 days a week, with or without your partner or your kids or whatever works well for you. Really think about the individual behaviors that go into that day. You'll begin to see clearly that little habits you can start actioning straight away can get you closer to your idea of your perfectly average day. So a couple examples I have here while people are working away. So do you read 20 minutes before getting up? Do you do a sun salutation, some yoga, some mindfulness? What do you do once you're out of bed? Do you make a coffee, make a tea? Do you shower? Do you watch The Price is Right? You know, like, do you pick out your favorite outfit? Do you listen to the radio? Like, do you have a brightly lit room with like a ton of sun coming through? Do you go to work? If you go to work, say like you know, say hi to your coworkers, or what is it, like, organize your desk. Literally these tiny little details can set the tone for your day, and just writing them out and being able to identify that what you want to achieve just on an average day can really help with that.
I know for me, my perfect day would probably just be waking up early, having a shower, getting ready for the day. I got a new coffee frother, so using that to make a good coffee, and then just relaxing and having a few moments in the morning to just chill before my day starts, and then just probably getting everything done at a pretty good time, so I still have time to see my loved ones and relax. What's your perfect day?
My average perfect day, I would probably wake up at around like 6:30, which I know is early, but I need a lot of time in the morning. I'd wake up at 6:30, do some like sun salutations probably. I can't meditate right when I wake up because that just makes me want to fall back asleep. I'd have some coffee, drink some water. I really like oranges, so I'd have like a nice cold orange in the morning. Maybe play a little guitar, go on a walk. Like, the opportunities are endless if you kind of look from like a realistic perspective back to our SMART goals. What can you truly achieve in a day given all of your circumstances? Like, do you have to take your kids to work? Do you have to go to work yourself? Do you work from home? Anything. And just kind of making things fit for you in a positive way. And soon enough, hopefully you'll be able to make tiny little changes that will add up to your average perfect day. So does anybody in our chat
Want to share their perfect day? You can either type it or go on mute. Perfect, Amber.
Okay, so my average perfect day. I've actually been really working on this the last 3 days. So 5 a.m. wake up. I know that sounds so bizarre to some people, and it did to me too before I started reading this book, The Miracle Morning. But it's up, brush my teeth, and have a large glass of water. Then I do meditation, visualizations, affirmations. I write in my journal, and then I do exercise. Then I would shower and have some breakfast, and that's me set for my day.
I like that. Affirmations. I want to start doing that.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually so powerful. I've been finding, like, my mindset is so much like so much more positive now than it was 3 days ago, and that's only doing 3 days of affirmations. So
I've been seeing a lot about them. I really want to start writing them.
Yeah, it's like, if you think about how many good things you hear in a day, and you hear one bad thing and it kind of sets a really negative tone, you hold on to it. So doing those positive affirmations can really make a difference, especially if you're doing it consistently. That's very admirable, so good for you. Do we want to get anyone else to share? I know we all want to talk about our perfect days. Annie, you can go ahead if you want.
I was going to share mine, but after Amber said hers, I just want to take her perfect day because that sounds like goals. Like, all of that sounds so good. But
okay, so what you need to do though is read the Miracle Morning book.
Oh,
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Write that down, everyone. Read the Miracle Morning book.
Miracle Morning Book. Got it.
Interesting. Yeah, these self-help books can be super life-changing. So I know what you mean. Annie, you sure you don't want to share anything? Come on.
Okay, so I would include a well-rested 8 hours of sleep because I don't get that because I'm always on Netflix, And so a really good sleep, and then I'd wake up refreshed and energized, and I'd have a really good breakfast because breakfast is my meal of the day. I love breakfast food. And then I'd go to work, and it'd be an easy day at work, and then I'd come home, and then I'd exercise because I still have energy, which doesn't happen now.
What would your perfect
And
breakfast be?
sorry?
What would your perfect breakfast be?
Oh, okay. So you're gonna think I'm crazy, but anything pasta. Okay, breakfast. Okay, because I'm super hungry in the morning.
That's not weird.
Favorite show on Netflix and getting ready at the same time, and then go for a little drive, maybe get a chai tea latte from Starbucks and a hike, and come home and make dinner and do some homework, and then in the evening have a shower and have some tea and watch a movie with my boyfriend.
That sounds like a good day.
That does sound like a good
Jamie
day.
said his perfect day is to do a 10-kilometer run and have a great breakfast. McDonald's, of course. I love McDonald's breakfast. Then swim 40 laps in my backyard pool. Then one lunch, doing a quick power nap. Then another 10K run. I love it.
20K in one day. That's a great goal. That's a great goal. Thanks, guys, for sharing.
Weighted blanket. I really want one of those.
That's a good point, Melanie. A weighted blanket
I should definitely.
to help calm your anxiety that you may have throughout the day. That's a good one. Cool. Okay. Next up. So yeah, that's all like the information we had. I know it's pretty short, but a lot of these skills and traits you kind of need to practice on your own in real life. And if you make mistakes, that's fine because that's what life is about. You live and you learn.
Trial and error.
Trial and error. Be optimistic. We'll take things as a learning experience, kind of thing. So yeah, how do you feel right now? Can you see any changes in your days that you can possibly make now? Like why wait kind of thing? And what is your end goal at the end of the day? And is it achievable? So for me, I don't know. I really enjoy going to bed feeling like I've done something good for myself and for others. And if I have regrets throughout the day, that's fine. You live and you learn. And yeah, it's also about being pretty easy on yourself with like in addition to holding yourself accountable, like empathizing with yourself because we tend to empathize with people a lot, but we kind of neglect that, take a second and realize, okay, there's a lot going on for me right now, so it's fine to feel this kind of way or to take this experience and recognize that it's fine, it's in the past, and that kind of stuff. So yeah, if anybody wants to share quickly, that's totally fine. We welcome you, but if not, no worries.
I'll just say a goal for me right now would probably be to not procrastinate as much in terms of getting my life together post graduation is my current goal. I've been pushing that off. Like I graduate in June, like elementary school, and I don't. So I would just be to focus more on the upcoming events that are happening in my life.
Yeah, I'm pretty avoidant when it comes to especially like what you said, like life after college. Yikes. Okay. Annie, did you want to share?
Yeah, I was gonna say my goal would be to get better sleep and eat more throughout my day, so I'm more fueled and energized, so I don't feel like all sluggish and lazy when I get home and I can actually have time to exercise.
That's good.
That is a good one.
That's good. That's good. That's like
Yeah.
me with yoga. I feel like if I don't have time to do yoga, I
Mhm.
feel guilty. And like, kind of like my friend always says, like, your body does a lot for you throughout the day. The least you can do is repay it with, like, you know,
Oh wow.
good food, some yoga, you
Mhm.
know, like a bath, something like that, because your body keeps you going.
Very good point. I like that.
Yeah. Gabby says she wants to focus more on herself and get more done during the day. So how can you get that goal done? Think about what changes you can make today in order to focus more on yourself, and get more done. It's a good way. It's a good place to start for sure. Amber says personal development and are huge goals to help you overall. Personal development is important. That's why we ran this workshop. I think it's good to be aware that these are traits that people like employers look for, you know, like if you're writing your resume and you write skills like I'm responsible, I'm organized, I'm a good collaborator, like, and they expect to see these goals from you, you know how to display them and you know how to show that you're doing a good job. So that's that. Here we go, Haley.
Okay, so next we just wanted to connect you guys to the agency's Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We are currently looking for volunteers, so you can always check out these links for those opportunities. And
Yeah, that bottom link there is a direct link to the volunteer sign up on DurhamAllianceOutreach.org. We are a nonprofit organization, so we're looking for people willing to come help us out and run our initiatives and other kinds of stuff. We just started an Instagram account this year. We've been trying to keep up with that. And yeah, I think YouTube is where we post our live workshops as well and other things that like Amber's been doing. I know Amber's been doing like a You Are Not Alone kind of initiative, which has been really nice. So next up, this is just a quick ad for the Easter treat platter. Sam, if you want to unmute and you can quickly talk about this, you have the floor.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Julia. So right now we're going to be working towards fundraising some additional money for Durham Alliance. The money that we raise will all go towards future programs or workshops. And so what we're doing is we're going to be selling a delicious homemade Easter treat platter. It'll be for $20 and you'll get 15 treats on the platter. And that includes brownies, cookies, cupcakes, bird's nest, Easterbark, and it'll all be Easter orientated. You can also pick it up on April 3rd, that's a Saturday, or you can have the choice to have it delivered for an additional $5. And you can order all the way up until March 27th. So all of the funds will be going to DAO. It's going to be all homemade and delicious, and hopefully everybody will order their platters before the deadline.
thank you.
Thanks, Sam. And next up, we can have Annie talk about this next workshop we have coming up.
Hey guys, so yes, this next workshop is actually happening next week, Wednesday, March 10th, and I'll be co-hosting it with Samantha, and it's called Release. And what it is, we're gonna go into like details about stress and wellness, and really how to maintain that and deal with and cope with the stressors in your life. And we'll go into the dimensions of wellness as well. For example, social wellness, intellectual wellness, emotional wellness. And then for a close, we're going to have a really fun activity of making kites. And the whole idea around making a kite is that making kites is a way of a stress relief, because you're letting that fly into the air and you're kind of not focusing on the stressors in your life, but you're more so thinking about that moment that you're in right now. And it's also a good way to just get out there and get some fresh air. So hope to see you all there. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
that's a good segue into the personal spirituality workshop we have coming up in 2 weeks. That one's still open to sign up. Releases, I think we may have a couple spots left for the Google Meet. And then the week after spirituality, we have another workshop from Sam, which will also be live streamed. If you couldn't tell already, this is kind of a series of placement students being able to kind of share these workshops with the community. So we're really appreciative of that opportunity. And yeah. So thank you guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for coming. I believe this will be posted on the Facebook if you want to come back to it. Keep us posted on those goals if you want. And yeah, thank you guys so much for coming. We appreciate you, and we'll hopefully see you next week for Annie's workshop.
Yay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. I just wanted to jump on here quickly and just say thank you to the both of you for doing this presentation today. Again, like I put it in the chat, I learned a lot, and I know a lot of other people did too. A lot of valuable skills came out of your workshop. So I am so happy that I was able to participate. And again, I just wanted to thank both of you guys. And I know everyone else here thanks you as well. So everyone, give it up for these two lovely ladies here. They're wonderful, and this presentation was amazing. So thank you, guys.
Thanks so much, Amber. All right, cool.
Thanks,
We'll
guys.
see you.
I learned so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
All right,
you very
take
much.
care.
I've learned a lot.
Thank you.